Hello YouTube. Today I'd like to work on the dashboard, but I don't want to work on it laying down and struggling to get to the other side at the same time. So we're going to make a stand for it. I'm going to use these two blocks as the end pieces, and I'm going to cut that piece of wood into uprights, and we'll use the existing holes in the dashboard and screw it to the uprights, and that way the dash will be this way and we can work on it. The dash is 9.5 inches wide. The block is 6 inches wide. It's 15.5 inches. And then we should have a gap of, let's say 2 inches. So 17.5 inches we want our uprights to be. We want to bolt the face of the dashboard to this upright, and we want it in the center of the block for stability. So what we have to do is mark the center of the block. The block is 11.25 inches wide, so the center is 5 5/8. We'll mark it right there, and then we'll take a square and draw a line on that. Now we want to mount our upright such that the face of it is in the center of the block. And with it lined up, we'll put a screw in. We'll take a screw and a washer to screw into our pre-drilled hole. Take the dashboard, carefully hold it up to the hole. And go do the same thing on the other end. We have the dash up on a stand. What are we going to do with it? Well, starting from this end, this clock, it looks like it's burned up. It was disconnected and it looks like it's got smoke on the inside of it. We're going to replace the indicator light and we're going to replace the headlight. The tack works, the wiper works, the cables are stiff, we're going to replace those. We're going to replace all the indicator lights. Speedometer works, we're going to just remove it and test everything. We're going to remove the two gauges, we're going to remove this panel and put a new one in. We have to remove these cardboard homemade speaker mounts. And then we're going to have to put a radio in. I actually have a radio coming. And we got to do something with the speaker over here. Other than that, let's just take it apart and clean it up. Let's start at the passenger side and work our way to the driver's side, and we'll remove the courtesy light here. Working our way across, we'll take these clips off. Next victim. There we go. I have the leads to the oil pressure gauge labeled, and we'll take everything off. And remove the gauge. We'll pull the gauge out and put it back together so we know how it went. Red's on the right, Brown's on the left. And green maybe is in the center. And now we've got it in back of the dash. We'll do the same thing to the volts gauge. I believe the speedometer comes out through the rear. So all we have to do is undo the nuts and the speedometer should come out. Now we want to remember this ground wire for the tachometer. And out comes the speedometer. And we don't have to disconnect anything. Continuing to work our way down the dash, we'll label this. And we'll start pulling these connections. There. And we can take these out. Next comes the fan wiring, and once we've labeled it, we can remove it from the switch, and then we've got to come to the other side and remove the knob. There's a little spring clip inside the knob that you have to depress in order to get the knob off, and it's easier to show you with the knob off. This is the spring, and you have to depress it in order to get the knob off. What I did to get the bezel off is there's two notches here on the outside edge of the shaft, and I put a punch right on that outside edge and tapped it around with a hammer until it got loose enough where I could take a pointer and spin that off. Now we can take the three cables out by just squeezing in the clips and pulling it out. There's always one that doesn't want to come out. And now we can remove this pad. The tack is held in by a Phillips screw, and we just take that out. We got some wires here to disconnect. This is the ground for the tack. This is the light for the tack. And out comes the tack. Off comes the indicator. The reason there's only two wires attached to the wiper motor switch at this point is because we removed the center plug in order to take the wiper motor off. But now we're ready to take the wiper switch out, so we'll just pull the plug. We got to go around and take the knob off again. This works the same way as the other one. There's a little spring that you got to release. Let's see if we can give you a close-up of how this works. There's a clip in the inside of the knob, and it's D-shaped, and you have a shaft that's D-shaped, and the knob slips onto the D shape but won't come off until you take something, and there's a notch. See the notch? If you push the spring right there, the knob comes off. Next is the clock. I believe that's a candidate for a replacement. It looks like it caught on fire. It was disconnected, but I can see the mechanism down in there. There's a little plunger here on the side of the headlight switch. To get the knob out, you have to press that plunger in and pull the knob off, and it comes off like that. I'm not going to be able to put these bezels back in this way. And you guessed it, there is a special tool for it, and I have ordered it. Off the headlight switch, we have the courtesy light feed and all the tail lights and headlights. What we have to do is unplug this. Ooh, broke that clamp. That's the first one. There we go. We're getting down there. Off comes the courtesy lamp, and we're down to a ground. I believe we have successfully removed the wiring harness from the dash, which means we have successfully completed the goal for this video. There will be another video, obviously, of the reconstruction of the dash. If you enjoyed this video, there will be more.